This is a review for our first exam that we will be taking over chapters 1, 2, and 6 through 10. So the exam is going to be online. It's going to be a combination of selected response, constructed response, and performance response questions. So the selected response, there are 30 total, worth 2.5 points each for 75 points. They're going to be multiple choice and true false. There's one constructed response item, which is worth 10 points, and one performance response item, which is worth 15 points. And the exam will be available beginning on Monday, September 30th at 8 a.m., and it closes Sunday on October 6th at 11:59 p.m. And just so you know, when it will close at that time. So you have 60 minutes to take it, but you need to make sure that you are completely finished taking it by then. So don't start it at 11:59. You need to start it at least by 10:59. So in order to prepare, I'm sorry, this is incorrect. I'll correct it. But in order to prepare, you need to read chapters 1 through 2, in addition to 6 through 10, all of the chapters that we've covered so far. Sorry, in addition to the supplemental readings, which I'll talk about here in just a second. So for chapter 1, be sure to review the traditional and today's reasons for assessments. If you haven't yet, go ahead and take that practice test in the week 1 folder. When we talked about chapter 1, there's a practice test there and the answers are on the bottom. That's a great way to review these concepts. Also be sure that you review the Tomlinson article, Learning to Love Assessment, and make sure that you have read through and understand and remember the different types of informative assessment ideas. And then also be sure that you are familiar with these concepts in chapter 2. We talked about Bloom's taxonomy, the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Make sure that you can identify tasks and objectives for each of these types. Also know what goes into writing an objective or curricular aim, as he says in the book, and again how that relates to the different types of Bloom's taxonomy. Make sure that you have an understanding of the difference between content standards and performance standards, and the difference between norm-referenced and criterion-referenced assessments. So for chapter 6, we talked about selected response. Be sure to review matching items, both the requirements and the violations, like having more choices than numbers if you're doing like a matching, have a succinct list in the matching, alphabetized lists, and lists of similar topics. Make sure you review the violations for like multiple choice, difficult vocabulary, use of negatives, complex syntax, which is like lots of compound complex sentences, unintended clues, like you're saying a or an or he or she, any ambiguous statement, anything that's unclear, and do not use all of the above. For chapter 7, constructed response, be sure that you understand short answer items, where blanks should be located, how many blanks should be included, maybe the size of the blanks. And then for essay questions, be sure that you prepare a scoring guide in advance before assigning an essay question. You always want to try to grade anonymously. And then be sure that you've read this article, Tucker 2009, The Next Generation of Testing. Understand ways that technology leads to greater assessment, and then the types of technology used for assessment that he discusses in the article. So for chapter 8, we reviewed performance assessments. Make sure you understand the rubric types, which are the task-specific, hypergeneral, and skill-focused, and then you can identify what those look like from if you're given rubrics. Understand how to create a rubric, like the number of evaluative criteria to include, the description of quality levels, the difference in holistic and analytic scoring, and then the number of items and tasks that should be included. For portfolio, make sure you understand the key ingredients to be included in portfolios, know the student's role. You should know about why portfolio conferences are important and what happens in them, and then how parents should be involved in the process. For Chapter 10, on affective assessment, just remember that it should always be anonymous. Know the purpose of affective assessment, like in order to enhance instruction in the classroom, to understand students' motivations, students' beliefs and attitudes. And then you also need to know the number of options and the structure for students at different grade levels, how that differs from one grade to the next. And then also be sure that you review this supplemental rating by Anderson and Anderson on affective assessment is necessary and possible. It talks about 5 different principles for affective assessment, so just be sure that you've reviewed all of those and have an understanding of them. So for extra credit on your exam, I have a Flipgrid review created, so you can go into Flipgrid, and that we did at the very beginning of the semester with introduction, so you can log back into that, and I've placed a new grid. So pick a topic from one of those chapters that I just went through discussing, and you'll create your video just to kind of explain or provide a little more information on that topic. And if it's already been used, then try to create a different topic so that we can all review together. And then I want you to post 2 replies to classmates. So you can either add additional detail or you can ask a question if you need further clarification. It's something I can answer or perhaps another classmate can answer. So you need to post by the 2nd your video and then reply to classmates by Friday the 4th. And you have to do that or you don't get credit. So if you do that, you get 5 points. And your replies to classmates can be, answering their questions. It doesn't just have to be adding detail. So here's an example for you of what I'm looking for. So if you have any further questions, let me know. But I look forward to seeing your grids and hope that you do well on the test.